All right, so lesson 4-6 is equivalent algebraic expressions. Okay, so an equivalent expression is expressions that have equal values. Please make sure you write down that definition. Okay, make sure you write down this definition right there. All right, so now we're going to fill in a frame. It's called Write Equivalent Expressions. Now, what we're covering today is properties of operations. Now, we've got the commutative property, the associative property, and the distributive property, okay? And you guys have heard of all three of these because I have mentioned them every now and then in class, okay? I don't know if you've picked up on it. But the commutative property, this is the one that says the order in which numbers are added or multiplied does not change the sum or product. So for addition, what that means is that A plus B is equal to B plus A. It's the same thing. So if I put numbers in there, 3 plus 4 is equal to 4 plus 3. It also works for multiplication. Okay, so multiplication, A times B is the same thing as B times A. And again, if we put numbers in there, you can see that. 2 times 5 is the same thing as 5 times 2. The associative property is the one where it talks about grouping, okay? The associative property says the order in which numbers are grouped when added or multiplied does not change the sum or the product. Now, how do I show grouping in my expressions? Yeah, we show grouping symbols, right? So here, with the associative property, we're going to be using parentheses, okay? So for addition, we have the quantity A plus B plus that C is equal to A plus the quantity B plus C. So this shows that we're grouping those first two numbers and then adding the third. If I group the second two numbers and add the first, we should get the same thing. So if we put numbers in, here you can see 2 plus 3 is 5, plus that 4, that gives us 9. So we grouped the first two numbers and then added the 4. So here, if I decided I wanted to group the second two numbers, let's see. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So you get the same thing. So the associative property also works for multiplication. So let me uncover this one over here. For multiplication, we're grouping the first two or grouping the second two. Okay? So if I put some numbers in there, you'll see the quantity 2 times 3 times the 4 is equal to 2 times the quantity 3 times 4. So here 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Or if I group the second two, I have 3 times 4 is 12 times that 2, that gives us 24 again. All right, so the distributive property. You guys, we've seen this one. We just did this one last class, right? The distributive property says to multiply a number by a sum or difference, you multiply each addend by the number outside of the parentheses. Okay? And the distributive property works for addition and subtraction. The other two are addition and multiplication. So let's take a look at the addition. So here, the distributive property says if you take a number, A, and you multiply it times a sum, this quantity here, you're going to take the A, the number on the outside, and you're going to multiply it times everything on the inside. So A times B, that's AB, plus A times C. Okay? And if we put numbers in there, you'll see how it works. So here, we've got 2 times the quantity, 3 plus 4. So that's going to be 2 times 3 plus 2 times 4. And then we can simplify that. But that's how we show the distributive property using addition. Okay? All right. So the distributive property also works across subtraction. So here is another example for its subtraction for the distributive property. So if we have A times a quantity, B minus C, it works the same way. So here we have A times B, that's AB, minus A times C, like that. And then if we put numbers in, you'll see how that works. So here we've got 4 times a quantity, 3 minus 2. So that's going to be 4 times 3 minus 4 times 2. Now, please write this expression down. It says an expression is in simplest form if it has no like terms and no parentheses. Okay? If it has no like terms and no parentheses. So example 1 is to generate equivalent expressions. Example 1 is generate equivalent expressions. So we want to use properties of operations to generate an expression that is equivalent to negative 3 times the quantity x plus 7 plus 2. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of our parentheses. So for this example, in order to get rid of our parentheses, we want to use the distributive property. Please make sure you write the example and you write down the explanations over here. So the first thing we want to do for this example, for this expression, is to use the distributive property so that we can get rid of our parentheses. So here we have a negative 3, and we're going to distribute that throughout the parentheses. So here we have negative 3 times x, that's going to give me what? Negative 3x. And then we have negative 3 times, don't forget this, negative 3 times positive 7 is going to give me what? Negative 21. So remember how I wrote that? And then we write the rest of the expression, plus 2. So now, you guys remember when I told you in previous lessons that the numbers, constants, are also considered like terms? Okay? I want to tell you that on your test, when you get your test, they're not considering it like that. That's the way I taught it when I was teaching in algebra, but they're just constants. Is everybody clear with that? So I don't want you to list, even though we can combine the constants because they are like terms, they don't call them like terms on your test. Is everybody clear with that? Okay? So here we want to identify the terms that we want to put together. Okay? What numbers can I combine? What terms can I combine? Right. We can combine the negative 21 and the 2. So we're going to use the associative property to group those. Is everybody with me? So here we have the negative 3x, that stays the way it is. Okay, negative 3x, that stays the way it is. And then we have negative 21 plus 2. Negative 21 plus 2 is what? Negative 19. Negative 19. All right, so we want to do another example. Let's do this one together again, okay? So one more time, the first thing we want to do is get rid of our parentheses. If you look at this right here, how am I going to get rid of those parentheses? Which property will I use? The distributive property. And you know that because it's a number on the outside of the parentheses times a difference, okay? So we're going to take this positive 4 and we're going to multiply it times everything inside the parentheses, okay? So the negative 5 out here stays the way it is, okay? So now we have negative 4, I'm gonna highlight it. Positive 4 times x. Positive 4 times x is? What kind of 4x? So we write positive 4x, right? And now we have positive 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. So we're going to write negative 8. And now we can identify some terms to combine, okay? So what terms can I combine? Negative 5 and negative 8. Now, the way that I want you to show that you are identifying your terms is I just want you to circle it, okay? So you're going to circle the negative 5, and I know this says minus 8, but what does it also say? Negative 8, okay? And we're going to combine those two. Is everybody clear with that? So the positive 4x stays the way it is because we can't put that together with anything. And then, since we're combining, we're adding, right? So what's negative 5 plus negative 8? Negative 13. And that is the end of your problem. All right, so take a minute to do letter C. The first thing we want to do is we want to use our distributive property, okay? So we're going to take that negative 3 and we're going to distribute it throughout the parentheses, okay? So here, negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Then we have negative 3 times positive 4, that is negative 12. And then we rewrite the rest of the problem. So now we want to identify the terms that we're going to combine. So here we have constants and constants. We can put those together. The negative 3, we can't put it together with anything, right? Because it's not a like term with anything else. So we're just going to write negative 3x. And now we combine negative 12 and negative 7. What's negative 12 plus negative 7? Negative 19. And that's it. Example 2 is equivalent expressions. Now this is a word problem. We're going to do this one together. You're going to write down your important information. It says, the uniforms for the basketball team cost $35 for the jersey, $25 for the shorts, and $10 for the socks. We want to write and simplify an expression to represent the total cost of the uniforms for the entire team. Now, I do want to let you know that in your homework, they give you the expression. I changed this problem so that you had to write it because I want you to practice writing expressions also. Okay? So first, what is the important information here? So the jerseys cost $35. Very good. What else is important? The shorts cost $25 and the socks cost $10. Very good. So we want to write and simplify an expression to represent the total cost of the uniforms for the entire team. Now, we need to define our variable. What is it that we don't know? What is it that you don't know? Well, that's what we're right now. That's what we're gonna figure out. But we want to know what do we not know in that situation? Very good, very good. We don't know how many people are on the team. Okay? So what variable would you like to use? How about T for team? Okay? All right. So T is equal to, and make sure you put your little curvy thing there so it doesn't look like a plus. T is equal to the number of team members. So this part right here is also important. If we add the cost of the jerseys, the cost of the shorts, and the cost of the socks, then we'll get the whole thing, right? So how do I write an expression for how much I'm going to spend for jerseys? The 35, the cost of the jerseys, times however many people are on the team, right? So that's going to be 35T plus, how do I write how much I'm going to spend on shorts? 25 times the number of people on the team. Plus, how much am I going to spend for socks? Very good. 10T. Now, are those all like terms? Yes. Those are all like terms because they have the same variable. So, here, I'm going to group them. So, I'm going to use my associative property to group those two. So, 35T plus 25T is 60T plus 10T, and now we get 70T. This is the expression that is going to tell us how much it's going to cost for the entire team. Now, I do want to let you know that's not the only way we can do this problem. So a group of friends went to dinner, or went to the diner. They each ordered a sandwich that cost $8, a large drink that cost $2, and a side that cost $4. We want to write and simplify an expression to represent the total cost of the meal. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is identify our important information. So we know that the sandwich costs $8, the drink, the large drink, costs $2, and the side costs $4. So we want to write and simplify an expression to represent the total cost of the meal. Now, the first thing we need to do here after we have identified our important information is define our variable. What is it that we don't know? And that is how many friends are going. So we can use F for the number of friends. So F is equal to the number of friends. So if we want to, what we want to do is we want to know how much it costs for sandwiches plus the drinks plus the sides. So in order for us to figure this out, for sandwiches, we're going to multiply 8 times the number of friends plus $2 times the number of friends and $4 times the number of friends. Okay? So if there were 7 friends that went, then F would be equal to 7. So we'd multiply everything times 7. If 4 friends went, we'd multiply everything times 4. F would be equal to 4. We don't know how many friends are going to the diner, so that's the reason why we use the variable. So now we can use our associative property to group in any order we want. So 8F plus 2F is 10F plus 4F, and that's going to be equal to 14F. So this 14F is the expression that will tell us how much it's going to cost for the entire meal. And we will finish example 3 and 4 tomorrow.